Welcome to episode 114 of Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Now we've got a few weeks to dig in before the next big holiday. Yikes! We had talked a few episodes back about communications from those on the other side. I want to talk today about the reverse of that. I want to talk about communicating our thoughts and feelings with those who have departed and are now on the other side. Back in ancient Greece, one of the 7 sages of Greece came up with the saying that translates as, "Do not speak ill of the dead." The thinking is that those who have departed do not have the ability to talk back or explain themselves, so the conversation is not quite fair. But let's face it, the people who were the least interested in accountability when they were still here are the souls who need most to hear it now that they are on the other side. Let's start with the basics. The people who have passed not only have the ability to send you signs and signals, they have the ability to hear and feel what you are thinking and expressing to them. They can hear it, and they need to hear it. They need to hear it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Why? Because they are in the process of calibrating for another lifetime, and they need all the input that they can get to keep them from making the same mistakes they made in their most recent lifetime here. They need to know what choices they made had positive outcomes, as well as the choices they made that had negative outcomes. You can tell them of all the times they delighted you, as well as telling them about the times they let you down. Often we have no idea the effect we have on other people while we are here in this school, both for the positive and the negative. We are not always tuned in to what others are thinking and feeling, as we are often distracted with what is going on in our own heads. When we are struggling to stay afloat, concern about our impact on others is not always front of mind. So what I am proposing here is that you have a one-way conversation with those you know who have passed. You tell them what your experiences were with them and how those experiences changed you. You tell them how they propped you up, how they made you feel safe, all of the delight that they brought into your world. You also tell them the ways that they diminished you, how they made you feel unsafe, and what you have had to overcome because of your interactions or lack of interactions. You tell it all. And you can get specific. You can start with, "Remember when you said this to me? This is how I took that." You can say everything that you were unable to communicate while they were still here, everything that they probably would have avoided hearing. You may think that the person who was here is a person who doesn't want to hear it. Few want to hear it when they are still in this school because they are still way too controlled by their egos. But once they get to the other side, they are no longer in the struggle. They can let their guards down. They can see the bigger picture and therefore have a better perspective. They are more ready than ever to hear the truth. It's too bad that we can't seem to drop the ego and guardedness while here, because we could grow in leaps and bounds if we were more willing to entertain the assessments of others. But these assessments, like all assessments in this school, can be either accepted or rejected. Those on the other side can disagree with your perspective, or they can still be unable to grasp concepts that are at levels above their current level of understanding. If they left here as a spiritual awareness third grader, they still won't be able to absorb information or suggestions that are at a higher level. They are still, for now, third graders. But you need to put the information out there anyway. Your goal is not to punish, it is to facilitate the growth of the departed soul. It is to give them vital information that can save them the agony of repeating the same lessons over and over again. Say it all. It will be a big step in healing for both of you. It may seem like raw honesty with people, either here or in the great beyond, is unkind. It may seem brutal, but it can be a great act of love. Conversely, withholding the truth from people, either here or in the great beyond, can be an act of cruelty. Gaining acceptance from others for having done something wrong is sure to keep you at the level of those who embrace you. If you do something heinous, you are probably at a low level of spiritual awareness. Your act will be reviled by those at the higher levels and embraced and celebrated by people who are also at a low level of spiritual awareness. Like attracts like celebrates like defends like. When you are at the low levels of spiritual awareness, you lack honesty, integrity, empathy, and humility. Those who think you are right on track with your choices also lack honesty, integrity, empathy, and humility. Your thinking aligns. One of the problems with this is that we often judge the outcome of our choices based on how others perceive them. We look to those around us to either verify the rightness of our choice or to take exception with what we have done. If you are at a low level of spiritual awareness and there are crowds of people celebrating what you have done, then you might be mistaken in thinking that it was a good choice. You can circumvent all the struggling with morals that might lead you to a better place and a higher level because you have people who are telling you that you were right, even though you were not. Then we tend to be able to adjust our peer group and our level of awareness to fit those who agree with us. But if you have even an inkling that what you did was wrong, and you see that those you feel you look up to are in disagreement with what you did, that is an opportunity to rethink your actions and choose better in the future. I have been thinking about this in relation to the Kyle Rittenhouse situation. He inserted himself in a situation that made him feel he had the right to shoot people. He shot 3 people, killing 2. The fact that he got away with these murders in the legal system does not mean that he was right. Those killings are on his soul. He will answer for them in a way that is much more significant than anything our court systems dish out. He is a killer. It was clear that he had no regret for killing people when he was day drinking in a bar with some Proud Boys throwing the white power hand gesture. His people had found him. He is now their hero. To those at higher levels of spiritual awareness, the acceptance and celebration by white supremacists would be just the indication you would need to know that you had gone horribly off the rails. But Kyle is a child who wants to feel loved and accepted, just like everyone else. His acceptance and coronation by those at the lowest levels will effectively keep him locked into the lowest levels of awareness. He is now one of them, and he will have to live down to their level of darkness. This acceptance will keep him from doing the necessary reflection on the fact that he murdered people. This acceptance will keep him from any sort of moral accountability that is so desperately needed by him. Those who now see him as a hero will never speak the truth to him. They will never help him see the tragic error of his ways. They will, through their celebration of his crime, keep him locked in this very dark realm. It is even harder to transcend the darkness when you are embraced, excused, and exalted by others who dwell in the darkness. People who effectively keep you locked in the darkness and keep you from doing the struggling that is necessary to move to a higher level of awareness are your worst enemies. Those who will hold you to a higher standard and tell you the truth are your salvation. Anytime you receive praise, evaluate whether it is coming from those at the levels you wish to inhabit or from those who are in the levels that you no longer have a need for. Even though it is infinitely more difficult, always go with those who want more from you and more for you. That is the only path to growth. We have talked a lot in previous episodes about acceptance by others and the power and danger of joining forces. We have this built-in need to find love and acceptance by others. It is a survival strategy that has the ability to either bring about positive change and growth, or it can go horribly wrong. So what is your role in this? What is our duty as people who are trying to grow into our better selves? Our presence and support amplify any cause that we attach to. And as we know, there are causes that run the full gamut, from those that are all about the darkness to those that are seeking the light. What we may have embraced at one time in our life very well may be something we outgrow as we reach higher levels of awareness. What then? Sometimes the attachment we have with people who are in the same group can keep us stuck where we are, even though we no longer believe what they believe. To step away feels like you have to reject the others you have formed relationships with who are in the same cause. That goes against human nature. Somehow, we are more comfortable extinguishing our own growth to make those around us feel more comfortable than we are to take the steps to grow. If we grow, we run the risk of making them feel that we see them as wrong or bad. No one wants to do that. But at what cost are these attachments? And what is the cost of being accepted by, say, the Proud Boys versus being accepted by people who are organized to promote equality and justice? You get to decide how you feel about all the issues out there. You get to decide how your honesty, integrity, empathy, and humility align with each and every cause. That is your right. And you also have a right to grow to a place where you change your mind about any and all of it. You are tasked with taking in new information all the time and allowing that to inform your point of view and grow you to a higher level. Anyone who thinks all the same things over the course of a lifetime is someone who has never sought out more information or put any stock in their own development. It is better to change your point of view than to remain static in a perspective that is stale, dusty, and unchallenged. But here is your responsibility. You need to walk out on any group that employs hatred and division. You need to remove yourself from any situation that does not align with your current level of spiritual awareness. The reason you need to remove yourself is that your very presence gives more power to the group while stripping you of forward movement. You cannot let your inborn need for acceptance come before your need to live a life that reflects your true beliefs and values. You have so much power. You don't even know how much power you have. But others who would like to use that power, they do know. They will draw you in and use your need for acceptance for their own means. It is your duty to be discerning. Use your power wisely. Thanks for returning for another week of Rebirth Revolution. My hope is that you can see yourself more clearly and see what is happening around you in a different light. You can always let me know what you think by emailing me at rebirthrev@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Rebirth Revolution can be found on all the podcast apps, the music apps, and full episodes can be found on YouTube and on our Facebook page. Please subscribe, download, and share whenever possible. Until next week, have some deep conversations with those who are here and those who have left. Examine your alliances, get vaccinated if you haven't already, and wear a mask because this thing isn't over. And listen to some Christmas music. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Stay strong and safe and fiercely independent.